Okay, this is the Community Advisory Committee final vote meeting. We're going to call the meeting to order. Upon the receipt of a completed application in response to the request for applications issued pursuant to New York Racing Pari-Mutual Wagering and Breeding Law Title 2A, the Commission will establish a Community Advisory Committee for each application received based upon the physical location of the proposed gaming facility. Accordingly, having received a completed application for a project at 1515 Broadway, Manhattan, the Commission has established a Community Advisory Committee for the applicant Caesars Palace, Times Square. By statute, such Community Advisory Committee consists of appointees made by the governor, the state senator, and state assembly member who represent the district where the proposed facility is to be located, the borough president where the facility is supposed to be located, and the mayor of the municipality where the facility is supposed to be located. Members of this Community Advisory Committee have been appointed by Governor Kathy Hochul, Mayor Eric Adams, New York State Senator Liz Krueger, New York State Assembly Member Tony Simone, Council Member Eric Bottcher, and Borough President Mark Levine. Pursuant to New York General Construction Law, Section 41, a quorum shall be established by the presence of 4 members. I will now call the roll of appointed members. Peter Hatch, appointed by Governor Hochul.
Here.
Laura Smith, appointed by Mayor Eric Adams. Here. Matthew Tai, appointed by Assembly Member Tony Simone.
Here.
Richard Gottfried, appointed by Senator Liz Krueger.
Here.
Chris Carroll, appointed by Borough President Mark Levine.
Here.
And I, Carl Wilson, appointed by Council Member Eric Bottcher. The presence of a quorum of qualified members is present, thus enabling the transaction of business. We're now going to approve the previous meeting minutes. So the next item of business is the approval of minutes from the organizational meeting held on July 23rd, 2025. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that the minutes of the organizational meeting held on July 23rd, 2025 be accepted as presented. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing no opposed, the motion carries and the minutes are approved. We're now going to move into the consideration of amendment to Caesars Palace Times Square application. As per guidance issued by the Gaming Facility Location Board on June 23rd and September 3rd, 2025, a Community Advisory Committee may solicit changes to a bidder's application with limitations. A bidder may make a promise, commitment, or obligation. All promises, commitments, or obligations must be definitive, meaning not incumbent on future state or local discretionary action, and unconditioned inability of the bidder to perform. A Community Advisory Committee may request a bidder change or modify their application. Changes, promises, commitments, or obligations must be incorporated into an application for the board or commission to have any role in the enforcement of such. No change or modification necessitating a change to either the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act or New York City Environmental Quality Review process can be considered. The Gaming Facility Locations Board developed a form to memorialize and transmit any requests for change or modification, which the chair may complete upon a majority of members approving such an amendment. Please note all amendments are available online. We have received a proposed amendment for consideration. And so I'm going to summarize the points of the amendment. Caesars Palace Times Square and the Metropolitan Transportation Authority have reached an agreement in principle to address key priorities for enhancing accessibility and passenger capacity in Times Square. As part of the agreement, Caesars Palace Times Square will deliver full accessibility to the 49th Street station on the BMT Broadway line through the installation of a new elevator connecting the street level to the downtown platform. Additionally, Caesars Palace Times Square will implement targeted upgrades aimed at improving circulation and or enhancing accessibility between the 7 line and the 1, 2, 3 lines. The scope of work will include elements that Caesars Palace Times Square will either self-perform or support through in-kind financial contributions. Final scope details remain subject to confirmation of technical feasibility and approval by various entities within the MTA, including by the MTA's system-wide accessibility group regarding specific accessibility enhancements. It is important to note that the Caesars Palace Times Square final environmental impact statement confirms that no mitigation is required for the Times Square's 42nd Street station or any other part of the subway system. Is there a motion to accept the Caesar's Palace Times Square proposed amendments?
So moved. Yeah, give me a second.
And is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Nay.
Nay.
So the nays have it. So the consideration of Caesar's Palace Times Square application. The committee, as required by statute, have reviewed the Caesar's Palace Times Square application, solicited public comments and written submissions of such comments regarding the application, and held 2 public hearings. This committee will now vote on a finding establishing public support, approving or disapproving
As the mayor's representative on this committee, I want to express my disappointment that today's vote was scheduled earlier at the request of some CAC members. By moving today's vote forward, we have effectively lost nearly 2 weeks of deliberation. These are complex proposals with significant changes along the way, and under the law, our role is to review applications thoroughly, consider public comment, and deliberate openly. That time would have allowed members to more fully assess the changes, reflect on community input, and carry out the responsibility entrusted to us. While I respect the process and my colleagues, I believe it is important to acknowledge that the accelerated timeline has constrained the committee's ability to meet the very standards of transparency, engagement, and thorough review that were built into the CAC framework. With that said, I vote aye.
Matthew Ty,
Nay.
Richard Gottfried.
I just want to say a word or two about the process here, which I think has been really exemplary. The people who have testified to us, the members of the committee, I think it's been an open and deliberative process, as good or better than anything I've ever seen in state and local government. I also want to commend the NISTEC consulting firm and Andrea Fairhurst in particular. They've done a terrific job. We could not have done our job without their terrific work and support. Having said all that, I vote nay.
Chris Carroll.
Nay.
And I, Carl Wilson, vote nay. The question of whether to advance the application to the Gaming Facilities Location Board has received 2 positive votes, meaning the application has been disapproved. The CAC will record its vote with all members endorsing their vote. We will promptly transmit our determination to the Gaming Facility Location Board and the applicant through NYSTEC. In addition, this committee will provide a copy of all materials upon which the affirmative decision was based, or sorry, excuse me, the non-affirmative decision was based to the Gaming Facility Location Board. Do any members have further items they'd like to present for consideration? Okay, hearing no other items for consideration, I thank my fellow committee members for their public service
May I speak on the record?
and this meeting of the Community Advisory Committee.
Question, you could answer yes or no. Can I speak on the record?
We're not accepting public comment at this meeting. So hearing no other items for consideration, I thank my fellow committee members for their public service. This meeting of the Community Advisory Committee for Caesar's Palace is hereby adjourned.